Hello everybody, my name is Simran. Welcome back to another video here on my channel. I'm doing a video today that's a little bit different than what I usually do, so to give you some pretext, I am 26 years old. I am a Fijian woman from the Bay Area, and you know the title of the video. We're going to be talking about my IUD story and why I decided to go off birth control. Okay, so let's just dive right into it. I got on birth control at a very young age. I've been on birth control since 16, and that was to like regulate my hormones and control my acne. Growing up, I had horrible acne. I didn't have cystic acne, but I did have like chronic acne, and I had really bad rosacea. It was just not fun. Like, you know, just dealing with acne, if you've ever dealt with acne, it was not fun. And of course I have my coffee, like, you know, so don't mind me. It's actually pretty early right now. It's 9 a.m. Okay, we getting it. So I dealt with acne. My doctor told me to go on birth control, as many women do. If you've dealt with any sort of hormonal imbalance, you know that the immediate thing that your doctor tells you to do is to go on birth control. So like I mentioned, I started taking birth control when I was 16, and I was on the pill. I originally went on the pill, and I forget exactly which pills I was on, but I know they started me off with the lower hormone one, and then they increased the hormonal dosage on that as I got older. And the issue with me on the pill was that I was extremely inconsistent. Like sometimes I would be on it like regularly, and then I wouldn't be on it and I'd just forget to take it, and it was just all over the place. If you find yourself doing that, do not do that. I really had to pay the consequences of my actions in that sense, because I developed ovarian cysts because of my inconsistent use of birth control. At 20, I decided to get on the IUD. The reason I chose to do that was because for me, it just seemed like the best option, considering I was so inconsistent with the pill. So for the past 5.5 years, I was on the Mirena IUD. And it wasn't until about 6 months ago that I actually switched from the Mirena to the Kyleena IUD. I was on the Mirena for 5 years. Once I hit the 5-year mark, I decided that I wanted to switch my birth control. According to research, the Mirena can apparently be usable for up to 7 years, but for me personally, I requested to get it removed because I could tell there was something that wasn't going right down there, and it turned out I was right. My IUD was actually poking my cervix, so yeah, but that took me like literally advocating for myself so much to my doctor, and that's a whole nother story that I can tell you guys about. A few immediate differences that I noticed once I just got on like the IUD in general. I noticed I dropped a lot of weight, especially in the first year. By the time I was 21, I was extremely skinny. By the time I was 22, that was like, at 22, I was the skinniest I had ever been, and that was like not only hormonal, but that was also stress. But I definitely know that my body lost a lot of weight the second I went on the IUD. With both IUDs, I actually still had my period every single month. Some women will not get their period once they get on the IUD, and I will say that these are like, everything that I'm listing is my personal experience. Like, this is what happened to me on the IUD. It is different person by person. I have friends who are on the IUD and they haven't experienced half of the things that I have experienced, and vice versa. So just keep that into consideration. I'm sharing my story just in case you're considering on going onto the IUD or getting off the IUD, and I just think it's beneficial for people to hear. So yeah, most women actually stop getting their period once they're on the IUD. That wasn't my case, but I actually liked it. Like, you know, it still made me feel connected to my body. I was just like, okay, like, you know, things are working down there. I guess really it just made me feel fertile. I was afraid that if I didn't get my period at all, like, I'd be like, oh my God, can I even have children? In comparing the Mirena and the Kyleena, I actually prefer the Kyleena. And I was on the Kyleena for only 6 months before I decided to get it removed. But within those 6 months, I really liked my experience on the Kyleena, and here's why. Kyleena has less hormones, and that's something that's very important to me. So over the past couple of years, I've really been trying to just be more kind to my body and be more healthy in general, and just trying to have an overall lifestyle change in terms of what it is that I do for my body, what I put in my body, all of that. And being on a low hormone birth control was very important to me. So at that time, that is why I decided to go on the Kyleena, because one, I know that like I'm very inconsistent with the pill, so the pill wouldn't work for me even if it was a low hormone pill. And two, across the different IUDs that there are, there's like the Kyleena, there's the Mirena, there's the copper IUD, and there might be a couple more, I'm not too sure. Please ask your doctor if you're considering this. But between those choices, that was the choice that I got. I actually learned about the Kyleena IUD through one of my really close friends, Keisha Bloom. She also has a YouTube channel. I'll link her video down below as well so you could see her experience. But it was through watching her video that I actually decided to get off the Mirena and go on to the Kyleena. When I was on the Mirena, I would spot all the time, like all the time. Even when I wasn't on my period, I would still spot. And this is gonna get TMI, I'm not holding anything back, so you know, if you get grossed out, then I'm sorry. But when I would spot, it wasn't fresh blood, it was like, I don't know what the actual medical term of it is called, but it's like, you know, it's old blood. Like, you know, it's like when you look at the color of your blood, if it's like deep, like if it's red, like, you know, like this color, like if it looks like this, okay, like that is fresh blood. But if you have blood that like looks a little bit more like just a deeper, darker red, that is actually old blood. So that's blood that hasn't come out from the previous cycle. So that told me that like, hey, every time I'm having my period, like the blood actually isn't like, you know, my cycle isn't completely cleaning itself out. And that would happen for 5 years. So that was like the first big red flag that I should have just like, you know, mentioned. I did talk to my doctor about it. They're like, yeah, it's normal. But like, come on, I don't know if that's actually normal. In general, like, you know, as like a human body experience, I don't know if that's normal. Maybe it's normal for being on the IUD, but like I said, I am being intentional and mindful to my body and like what's going on around it, and I just didn't want to deal with that anymore. So with the Kyleena, I did not spot. I will say that when with other people that I've talked to that's been on the Mirena, they did not have that issue that I did. So again, to each their own, everyone's experience is different, but that was my experience. It wasn't bad. It's not like I had cramps or anything. It was just inconvenient and it was annoying. That is like why I didn't like it. Something else that I really liked about being on the Kyleena is that my periods were short. Okay, so naturally I have really long periods. Like when I was in high school, my periods would last, sometimes my period would last like 10 days. Like I would have the longest periods. They were extremely heavy. This is something that's hereditary. This is like, you know, my mom has had like, you know, issues with her period as well. And that is something that like I just kind of knew going into that. I was just like, okay, like, you know, this is what my periods will be like. Once I got onto the Mirena, my cramping significantly like, you know, decreased, and my periods were like 5 days, like a solid 5 days. The day that I would get my period, first day is just like, okay, like, you know, this is like another day, whatever. Second day, absolutely like, you know, bloodbath. Third day, bloodbath. Fourth day, it's lightening up. Fifth day, okay, we're like, you know, lighten up, and then it's done. So that's literally how my period was when I was on the Mirena. On the Kyleena, my period was only 3 days, but it was like the first and second day were like absolute bloodbaths, like horrible. Like it was so heavy. And then on the third day, it was like a normal period, and then it just went away. Between the two, I would actually take the Kyleena because it's just like 3 days of just getting it all out and then done. I would prefer that. So something considered there. That's been my IUD experience. Hope that helps. So by the time this video goes live, it'll actually be an entire month since I've been off of birth control, and like completely. So right now my body is completely natural. There are no hormones. And you might be thinking like, okay, well, like why would you do that, right? Like, you know, what was your reasoning for getting off of birth control? And it really just comes down to what I mentioned earlier. Like, you know, I'm being very intentional about everything in my life right now, but especially my body, and especially like, you know, my mind, spirit, emotional wellness, all of that. And I do think that just putting your body through hormones and like, you know, like keeping your body on hormones for as long as I did is not healthy. Because let's think about it logically for a second. Like being on anything, like imagine being on any sort of medication for 10 years. That is a very long time. And I think that like in general, like I just wanted to give my body a break. And I'm at that point right now where like I actually can do that. Like I can give my body a break from hormones. I don't really have a reason to be constantly on birth control. And that was another thing. Like, you know, I kind of like took a second to look back. It was just like, hey, like I have no reason to really be on birth control at this moment. So why am I putting my body through that? Like at that point, it kind of like I felt like I was being mean to my body. You know, it's like, oh, I'm putting you through this, but you don't really need to be going through this. And I think that, and like it just like that by definition I feel like is torture. So it's like, why would I want to torture that? And getting a little bit more like, you know, into my very personal beliefs, it's like your womb is a very sacred place and you just want to like take care of it, right? Like, you know, you want to make sure that like you know, your womb is a place of creation. It is a place of I don't know, life. And there's, you know, we as women, we our womb means a lot to us. It does. So it's like, you know, let's take care of it. Let's make sure it's doing right. Make sure, like, you know, she's happy, because when she's happy, we're happy, and that's all that matters. I will say that I really thought about this for months. Like, even when I was switching my birth control, at that time I did want to be on birth control, but not too soon after I was kind of just like, oh my god, why did I actually go on birth control? So this was something I really thought about for months. Like, you know, I think I started thinking about getting off of birth control around January of this year, of 2022. I did a lot of like personal research before I went off birth control, and for me this meant just, you know, looking up articles online, watching YouTube videos, and of course talking to like friends and family about it as well. I have a really good sort of like network of women who are open and willing to talk about these things with me, so I really just like, you know, just hit up a few of my cousins. I'm just like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, what do you think? And they were fully supportive of it. They're like, yeah, get off of it, like, you know, if just, you know, give your body a break, do whatever you got to do. I'm also going to link a couple of other TED Talks that I watched that I found very interesting. One of the TED Talks was by research psychologist Sarah Hill. So some key takeaways from that video was that she began the video by saying that we're often told to never criticize or question the birth control pill, because it's given us the power to control our reproductive, like, you know, health, and it's given us so many more opportunities to advance like our careers, to attend school, and overall just like it's just been like birth control has been a huge win for women. So I do want to acknowledge that, and I do like, this is not me saying birth control is bad, like, no, I don't. I think birth control is the shit but like, it's the shit when it makes sense for you, like, right? Like, you know, if family planning, if being in control of your reproductive health means like, you know, going on birth control or going off birth control, that is the whole point of birth control. So do what makes sense for you at any point in your life. Something else that she also talked about that I thought was super interesting, I'm looking down right now because I'm looking at my notes, so I'm reading it. So she went on to say, like, you know, to the video, how like the birth control pill has actually had a huge impact on our sex hormones and like how it influences our brain. So that to me in itself is like absolutely insane. I definitely encourage you to watch it. It's a very interesting video. I just thought it was a very interesting watch. This other video is also a TED Talk. It's by Dr. Toor. She is a medical doctor who's extremely passionate about women's health. This one was more like, this is why birth control is amazing, and like, you know, if you're considering going on birth control, or whatever part of the world you are, if you're like, you know, don't know too much about it, I really encourage you to watch this video because she says some amazing quotes. Like, she spit some fire quotes in that video. I'm gonna quote her a couple of times, okay? Reproductive liberty is a necessary step to self-actualization. Yes. This is my favorite quote from that video. She said, educate a boy and you'll educate an individual. Educate a girl and you'll educate the next generation. Okay, Dr. Toor! Oh my goodness. It was powerful. It's a very powerful video, so I encourage you to watch it. Am I going to be off of birth control forever? No. I think I'll eventually get back onto it once it makes sense for me. Another YouTuber that I really enjoy watching, her name is It's Baby J. She is, you know, some people may relate to her videos, some people won't, but I like, you know, these are the types of videos that I really relate to and I really like to like watch. And she's very much into like, you know, divine femininity, into learning about like, you know, your inner goddess, and like all about just spirituality. So if you're into that, watch her videos. If not, then, you know, don't worry about it. But she has a really great video on natural birth control methods for people who are not on birth control, and like, you know, if you still want to like have natural forms of birth control. So I want to say, like, whether you are or aren't on birth control, that is completely your choice. You have the choice to make that, and that's at any point in your life, okay? And you should make that choice based on your current life situation and whatever knowledge and resources are available to you. So I hope this video was informative, and it helped in terms of sharing, like, hearing about my experience and what I thought, the differences between the Kyleena and the Mirena, and why I decided to go off of birth control. But at the end of the day, y'all, remember, it's your body and your choice. And with that, give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and come back next time for more videos. I also want to say, like, I know I'm not the most consistent YouTuber, but like, for the people that come back and actually, like, you know, continue to watch my videos on a regular basis, I really appreciate you. And I'm working on it. I really am. I'm always working on being better, and that includes being better for you all and being more consistent to you all. And that is something, that is a goal for myself this year, is to hold myself more accountable and to be more consistent. And yeah, I just appreciate you. For whoever is tuning in, I always appreciate you.